Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Crime Centric. This being a show, we're talking about crime dramas that I watch. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about The Blacklist, Season 10, Episode 9. A great episode. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. This is one of the most, I love, like, the crisscross of it all, the double bluffs, and just, like, I guess it's that Kansas City shuffle type of stuff that I love. Once again, just like, you're so busy looking left, you don't see what happens right because you think you figured out the trick, but your part in figuring out the trick was a trick. It rattled my brain because I figured something had to be up from the very beginning. Like, the fact that some of the conversations that were had, they were like, the fact is they were talking in front of Bo Chang like that, they're going to ship him off to the CIA. It's like, they felt too purposeful. Cynthia only giving them a 2-hour window and Harold not pushing back against that, which, I guess it makes sense, but it felt like, that's so weird. And then also the process of them entering the task force building, the post office. I was like, whoa. It's like, have we ever gotten this in depth of the process and everything? I was like, because I was like, if they had shown us before, why would they be showing us now? If they have at all, it's only ever been maybe in the first season. Obviously, that was over a decade ago, so I don't remember. But I don't think they ever showed how extensive that is. But I was like, why would you do that? I was like, something's weird here. Something's off. And then obviously you have Reddington there kind of being like, you should know better than anyone. And I guess that should have been the thing, that not everything you see is what you see. Not everything is what you see and believe it to be. It's like from one person who is Red, who is so complicated and so complex, because Red isn't what you see, because there are layers upon layers there. Then he's talking to the troll farmer whose whole business model is about making you see what's not real. So now it's like, okay, this is some Inception level stuff. It's still early enough in the video, so I'm not going to cuss up a song like I normally do, but I'm like, this is Inception level craziness of just how deep the layers go, not just on what's going on story-wise, but even the players involved, because like I said, with what Bo Chang does, with who Reddington is, there's so many deeper layers to that. It's super meta in so many regards. But the moment they let Bo Chang stay in there, they kept focusing on the time on the clock. So I'm like, right, they're making too much of a point about it. Something's not right here. And then Wrestler left the door open while they're talking about, they never do that. We know they never do that. They've never done that. If they're ever having conversation, Wrestler will go to Cooper's office or something, and when it comes to the interrogation room, so I'm like, what's going on? And then the moment they show the paperclip, I'm like, oh, this is a setup. You want him to get away. I was like, that was enough to be because something was just off the entire time. But the moment you see a paperclip, you're like, yeah, this is a setup. They want him to get out. I'm like, and they made it easy for him to get out. The moment he put the passcode into the door after he short-circuited the keypad, I was like, oh, it took him only 3 tries to get out. It's like, right. Probably should have made that take a little more time, because that's also the thing of right, you can't let him get out on the first try. You can't make it seem too easy. That's why I was like, hey, fire extinguisher there to break the door when you get out. And it's like, yeah, they're so excited to be like, oh man, we got him. And I love the beautiful reveal where hey, Cynthia, this is not the look at this. This is what Reddington's been building. That building he's been working on, that little pet project. It's been what is that? It's been a replica of. It was a replica of the post office, to the minute details, because the whole point was to let Bo Chang escape so that he would lead Wu Jing to the fake post office and stuff like that. But then I also thought, well, there's also the extra layer of what did Reddington and his people do? It's no, we're putting in cameras that are an eighth of an inch or whatever. And it's we can't let even Harold and them catch on. So it's there's already layers of you knew something was up. But I was he was specifically talking about Harold. So it's this isn't about Bo Chang. So there's something else at play here. So why would he need the cameras to keep an eye on Harold? And it's well, we find out why. The cameras were meant not for the fake post office. They weren't meant to... They were implemented in the fake post office. so they could keep eyes on them, because obviously they're thinking like, oh man, this is going to turn into Wu Jing is going to show up here and we're going to be ready for him. He's going to be ready for a fight once Bo Chang tells him exactly where we are, and that this was Reddington's plan. But also knowing like how far this goes back, but also like the layers deep of just like Reddington pulling off his own plan. I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but it was just like the moment everything started going down, I'm like, there's no way they're at the same facility. I was like, also like you ran into no resistance. Like, yeah, because they cut back and forth between Wu Jing making his plan and the task force being like, all right, this is what we're going to do to counter him, because he's most likely not going to do this. Maybe he'll do this. But like, the fact is that they got to the elevator and was like, I know you're waiting for him, but it's still like there was no resistance waiting for him in any regard. I guess the argument could be like, well, they're not in the spot, because I think they suggested where they thought he was going to be, but he was like, no, we're not going to go there. We're going to go from the top and work our way down. They weren't expecting that, but I'm like, it still something seems off here. I was like, what's going on? But like I said, the moment they got there, I was like, they're at the real post office. This is Reddington's real plan. The task force is waiting at the fake post office, thinking like Wu Jing's coming here, but it's like, no, he's going to the real task force. And then Wu Jing shows up. I was like, so what is the purpose of this? And then you have Reddington pop Wu Jing. I was like, what? Like, just like that? We're like, obviously I'm a couple episodes behind, so I'm getting to this weeks late. Homie, we're not even like the halfway point of this season yet. There's still 2 more episodes. Like episode 11 is going to be the halfway point. How you going to kill the, what? That, I was like, there's no way that just happened. I was like, I was starting going conspiracy mode. Like, that's got to be a fake Wu Jing or something. Like, there's no way that just happened. And it's like, oh, it did. I was like, so what the hell is this back half of this season's going to be? Like, that's why. Once again, I'm a couple episodes behind just because I got sidetracked with other stuff in it. So but I am slowly going to be catching up this week on the Blacklist. But I'm like, oh, what does that mean? Because it's like Wu Jing, I was like, oh, he's going to be like the main antagonist. But I think that's also so impressive of like, what did Reddington describe him as? Like a wannabe or like a low class assassin or something. It's like, oh, you try to step into my area. You try to be the big dog. You're not. You're nothing. You've always been nothing. I was like, that's some like diabolical, like, oh, you thought you were the big dog? You haven't even stepped in my arena. You're still playing in the sandbox. This is the big boys table. Like, almost like you're still at the kiddie table. I guess you could almost, that'd be the more apt like metaphor to go for, but, and he has like his men surrounding Sven and, Zhang Wei, and so it's like, yeah, it turns out, because the moment Bo Chang's sitting there just kind of like not nervous at all, it's like, oh, so this was all part of the plan. And so they're keeping the FBI at bay, not the FBI not knowing at all what's happening really at the real post office, and they've got cameras in the fake post office saying like, right, they're still caught up in it, because obviously they're trying to scratch in their head like, I was so certain Wu Jing would have been here, like he would have struck immediately, so why isn't he here yet? So that becomes the whole situation. So Reddington starts talking to Sven, and it's this beautiful monologue that he goes on about, kind of like going into what I kind of paraphrased it, but it's like, oh, he's like, the fact of the matter is, working with law enforcement has always been a part of the criminal world, because we utilize our connections, because our whole thing, like as criminals, is the exchanging of information. And so for him, it's like, I'm not doing anything different, it's like, than anyone else. And once again, it's like, the fact of the matter is, I have been at the top of the top. I am at the top of the mountain. I have built an enormous and exuberant criminal organization that has run for decades, that you and even Wu Jing never fully comprehended, because you never could fully understand what it is that I built. Don't even fully understand, once again, the layers and depths of who I am, what I've been through, what I've done to build this, the sacrifices. Didn't go into the tirade, but like, that is the thing of like, everything Reddington has sacrificed, everything that Reddington has lost to build what this is. It's like, no. You underestimated this. You underestimated me. You try to make a point to try and take me down. I'm going to tell you how it is. Yes, I work with cops. Yes, I've taken down fellow associates. And it's like, but people who work with me, oh, they make out like bandits. The fact is, they flourish because I'm that good at what I do. So when like all ships, like all tides raising all ships, I'm butchering the phrase, but you know what I'm saying. We all benefit from it because I'm so good at what I do, you all come out better for it. And he's like, and he says that there is no, that phrase, there's no honor amongst these. He's like, I hate that. The fact of the matter is, even though we are all criminals, we still have our codes. We still have lines that we won't cross. And Reddington's shown that multiple times that he is a criminal with a moral code, which is, you would think like, right, you're a criminal. And people have kind of criticized that before, like, oh, you're a bad guy, you kill people. It's like, yeah, but that's also the thing to remember. Like, bad guys have their codes too. That's why, I mean, let's get real world here. Certain criminals don't do well in prison because other prisoners are like, oh, you're the scum of the earth and we hate your type. Pedophiles, for example, do not do well in prison because every criminal has like someone that's like, yo, like criminals have daughters and children of their own. So it's like, oh, you abuse children? Yeah, you're scum to us and we will make your life a living hell. If not, kill you. So it's in that same vein of like, that's who Reddington is. Of like, I get rid of the scum. Like the fact that made it, every criminal I've ever helped the Blacklist take down, they are disgusting, garbage human beings that, like, yes, even amongst the criminal world, they are the scum of the earth, and so I help remove them from the board. There's some that kind of don't float in that direction. It's a means to an end. You serve a purpose to me, so, but a majority, it seems like he's like, I take down the bad of the bad. Like, and not even just like, oh, good, bad, of like, oh, we're all criminals, ha, 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 ha. It's like, no. The scourge of the earth, like our people in the same boat as us, but who are not. You are less than, and even kind of even went in on like Zhang Wei about this. It's like, I love the whole like, and now the question is what to do about you, Zhang Wei, because you've always been Wu Jing's right hand man. You've been the one to carry out a lot of his kills. You've even killed a lot of innocent people. He's like, I've got 13 bullets in this gun, and I don't even want to waste a single one of a piece of trash like you. I was like, hey, yo, Reddington's going so hard in this moment. And then to him being like, oh, but then I don't have to worry about it because I've just hired the guns. Isn't that ironic for you to end up being killed by the same people you hired? He's like, you know what? Never mind. Popped him in there. I was like, yo, that legitimately, I was like, hey, yo, that was wild. That went so hard, dude. Like, I swear to you, I was like, that is such a badass moment, just being like, oh, I'll get, you know what, fuck it. I'm gonna kill you. I will, because normally I handle this myself, but I'll let them, you know what, no, bam, I took care of it myself. It's like, and just like, the cold-heartedness of just being, like what Red does when he kills someone, he just goes off, picks up his hat, puts it on, and is like, let's get out of here. It's like the coldness in which he did that. It's like, that was gnarly, dude. I mean, once again, it's not like it's the first time we've ever seen Reddington be cold. Like, he can be cold. I mean, all of this was cold and calculated like he always is, and it's just like, it's just phenomenal. And it's just like one of those moments you're like, oh, that's why I like Red a lot. It's like, oh, you're one of those bad guys I really, really like. And it's that thing of like, yes, we've seen the humane side of Reddington. We've seen the humanity. We've seen what lies beneath. We know who Reddington is. But even then, it feels like sometimes we barely scratch the surface, even of what we know at this point in the series about who Reddington really is, what Reddington was to Liz. Still to be where you are right now, it's just so wild, dude. And it's a thing of like, I'm surprised, but I shouldn't be surprised. This is 10 seasons. This is 10 years of the show. And we know how Reddington operates. So why should anything ever come as a surprise? Why is a task force surprised? Because it's like, oh, you pulled the wool over eyes. He's done it so many times before because and it's always something wrestlers always saying like, yo, Reddington always does something to benefit him, but it is always that conversation of the ends justify the means because we take down some bad people. Yeah, we kind of help Red in the end. I mean, and that's something that Sia has kind of, once again, that's been part of her journey trying to come to terms with a lot of that. It's kind of been something like wrestlers kind of try to help her kind of fully understand and comprehend. So it's just, it's like I said, it's back to the point of I'm surprised, but I shouldn't be. So, and it worked out to his benefit because now he has Finn's help and it's like, yo, when the time comes, like, you will help me fight a fight because this fight was never your fight. Some petty guy came after me, and it's like, yo, I've set the record straight. You know who I am. You know what I'm about. And the fact of the matter is, we can work together. Are you in or you out? And Sven was like, all right, we're in. So, yeah, it's like, I wasn't like I said, I'd expected this to be a full season thing. I guess maybe like the rest of the season, the rest of the series is going to be the aftermath of all of that, because now becomes a big question of, well, what is this relationship like going forward? Because we find out Bo Chang didn't switch sides from Wu Jing to Reddington's, like in between getting caught. It's like, no, Wu Jing got Bo Chang after Reddington had already gotten to him. It's like, no, I want you to say yes to his agreement, because like, yeah, this battle's coming out. And he's even been like, yeah, I'm probably gonna have to tell you something you're probably not gonna be too happy about. Part of the reason why you were on the list of people that Wu Jing is trying, because I put you in jail and everything like that. So, but obviously for the and it's like, what is the one thing you need? What's the one thing you need to win war? And Dembe was like, anticipation. And it's like, yeah, like all of this, like this has been, once again, that's why I was talking about the inception levels of how deep this ran, because it's like, right, like you have been planning this that far in advance, like the whole, because it's like, you didn't just change your mind at the last second with the whole like, hey, we're going to get this building made that looks like the post office. It was never meant to fool Wu Jing. It was always meant to fool the task force, because Red said that he's always known that it was going to be like his weakness. Like the post office was always going to be like a blind spot that they would always come at. I mean, it kind of makes sense considering like, right, he has gotten attacked. Like obviously he's gotten attacked when he was under, that was back when they were in the post office even back then, right? When like the area they had Reddington secured, like the place has been hit before. So it's not like it's like completely out of nowhere. So, but Reddington's always known, but he has a soft spot for the place, so he kind of let it be. But it's like, it's gotten to the point now with Wu Jing closing in like he was. It's like, he got too close, too uncomfortably close to exposing everything. So last thing I need, and even Reddington was like, yeah, my business and how I operate it, how I go about like doing what I do as a criminal I am, is kind of no one else's business but my own. It's kind of how he was explaining it to Sven. But for him, it's like this, he did this for plausible deniability. Everything that I do, like everything I did was on me because you guys got fooled by me, and there probably will be blowback. And that's kind of the point that Harold's making. Is like, you went too far this time. But for Reddington, it's like at the end of the day, like the post office is one thing, but it's like the task force, in his own way, Reddington does this because he loves them, because they were in danger as even though Bo Chang was working with him, it's still true of Wu Jing knew all of their names. He knew their faces, who knew they were. Like, it was only a matter of time. He would have come after them. And in his own way, Reddington handling things this way ended up saving everyone. And it's like, you might not appreciate the way I did it. You might even want to, because especially as main justice isn't going to be happy about this. The attorney general isn't, but he was like, the attorney general will never fully know what it is that we fully do and what you've done. And now also that hex route, it's like, oh yeah, I took that. I didn't erase everything. I basically took everything off the server related to me about some powerful informant that, all the stuff related to Reddington that are on the FBI's files, because that's what Wu Jing is after. The post office would always be a future target, because Wu Jing got this close. Who's to say someone else won't later on? So now I have all those files, and they're not going to probably be deleted, but it's like, yeah, they're in my possession now. I mean, it's almost like the same parallel of, like, once again, the Blacklist itself, or everything he showed Liz in season 8. Like, that whole system and everything. So, that was supposed to be hers to inherit and all that. So, it almost feels very similar in that regard. So, I wonder, is all of this going to play some part in that, or is just like, I mean, it served its purpose of what it was meant to do, and it's, yeah, left the FBI's computer systems without the information about him. It makes it easier. And it's like, once again, main justice won't be too happy about it, but he's like, yeah, that's beside the point. He's like, at the end of the day, you have to decide, take time away from all this and decide whether or not you want to continue doing what we do. And he's like, I'll do the same, because it is that thing of, it has proved beneficial to him, yes, but it also has put him in a position where he had to like do what he did because of Wu Jing. It's like you could have brought us in on the phone, but it's like, right, the easiest way to trick your enemies by tricking your allies, you know, and that's kind of a big thing, because if your allies don't see it coming, your enemy sure as hell won't. Because the people closest you get blindsided, then that means the trick is that damn good. So, like I said, I'm a couple episodes behind. Like at the time we recorded this, there's still 4 more episodes. I don't know how many I'm going to be able to get through today at the time we're recording this. This should go up today because, you know, I'm done with this recording, but I don't know like how many I'm going to get through with the other 4 episodes. I'll probably try and watch a couple more this today, but I got some other stuff I need to finish up too, and just yada, yada, yada. I'm not going to bore you with the details, but either way, I'm excited to see where all of this ends up taking us going forward into the next episode. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.